Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Britton's Hangout Hour, episode 25. We made it. I was starting to think we weren't going to make it to 25 there for a minute. But I'm here with Dan, also known as the Black and Blue Collar Reader. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing swell, brother. Thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I was actually watching a couple of your videos today before I, just kind of, admittedly, I didn't watch your channel too much, and then I'm like, alright, I'll watch some of his videos, and I really liked them. I thought they were pretty funny, and it's good stuff. You got some good stuff.
Yeah, I got some humor, so that's kind of my style. But I'm working on, being a little more eloquent when I speak, though.
Yeah, I watched your Blood Meridian ramblings last night because I was kind of just like, oh yeah, let's see what he's got to say, and I was like, oh, it's not too bad.
It was alright. It was when I first put it up, I was like, I hate this video. When I put videos up, I'm such a narcissist that I watch them a lot, and I criticize them constantly. I'm just like, watch, dude. This motherfucker's gonna say phenomenal again for the 5th time. Like, phenomenal's my word, man. And I'm like,
I do that too.
like,
it's
bring
fine.
people over, and I'm like, look, he's gonna say it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He said it again. So.
Well, I mean, I bring that up because I have my copy here because I'm actually going to be having a discussion with a friend of mine about Blood Meridian. Hopefully tomorrow, if he's not, caught up with stuff. He's had a bunch of health issues and whatnot.
Oh man, it sucks.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that because it's his favorite book, and I really enjoy Blood Meridian. So,
Yes.
got
The best story. It's what's under the story that counts.
I'll admit, you got a lot of balls starting Blood Meridian first. I gotta say.
Yeah. I actually did read No Country for Old Men when the movie came out, but I don't remember it. I do, like I've said before, I do remember there not being any punctuation or quotation marks, and it being a little hard to follow. And I do believe Sugar, I think maybe that's his name, the bad guy.
Yeah.
I do think he has some sort of there's something about him in the book that you have to decide, like, what he is. Maybe he's death chasing you, or when you read that part, and kind of like, you can't really outrun death because that's the only thing promised in this world.
Yeah, no, I thought I heard somebody. Yeah, no, I get you. But okay, I guess you started with No Country first, and yeah,
But that was, I read it because I didn't have anything else to do back then. But this is where I had no idea what a type of writer he was. I didn't know about themes. I just kind of read it for entertainment. But now that I'm older and I started reading, in my 40s, and I see booktube people talking about it and talk about themes and styles of writing. Now I'm starting to take notice.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask, how did you get started on BookTube? Because we kind of talked a little bit yesterday because we were doing a test call because you weren't really sure on. I don't know. Oh yeah, you weren't sure about setting up the technology, and you said you.
Yeah, so I did. I've done StreamYard a couple times, but I remember a booktuber wanted, or I don't know if he's a booktuber still, but he wanted to reach out to me via Discord. We had some issues, so I wanted to make sure I got that set up. But how I got started on BookTube, I don't really have many bookish friends, and it seems like those who start channels tend to get a lot of people to talk with them about the books they read, and they want, if you become a channel they like, they'll suggest things and they'll talk about it. And I wanted kind of a community there, and I started it. I put out a horrible video on the darkness that comes before with some funny things. I probably spoiled something in another series in my first video. I thought it was hysterical, but now that I'm getting used to, I'm trying to get a structure into my videos and things like that. But yeah, I wanted to talk to people, and I felt if I got out there and I made videos that, I would end up running into people. And I think I was only in one Discord at the time, and it wasn't running great.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided to throw a video out there and learn as I go, basically.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, I think that's cool, man. That sounds really cliche, I know. And I have a similar problem. I have a hard, like, I have a better time watching, like, my podcasts or like, conversations I've had, because I like reliving those conversations, but, like, watching myself, like, review, it's hard for me to do, because I'm really, like,
Yeah, I'll
self-conscious
pick
while watching
myself
myself.
apart worse than anybody out there. That's the issue. When I put a video out there, man, I can't stop. Like, oh, is he really gonna say that? And then it goes in my head, and I'm like, he should have said this. You totally missed one of the major themes of this book. How did you put this out? But it's a learning process.
Yeah.
I would say I'm my biggest critic when it comes to my videos.
Yeah, no, I get that entirely. Good lord, I watch videos, I'm just like, oh man, what was I thinking? Now,
Yeah,
admittedly, some of the
yeah.
videos I put out now, there's some I'm actually happy with, but, there's some I'm just like, oh lord, what was I thinking? You know? it's,
No,
but,
I have a whole catalog of what was I thinking. That's my playlist
even though I'm,
on
like, putting up
YouTube.
bullet points, like, now, I always recommend bullet points to people, and I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I really kind of go off the cuff. Like when I start speaking, there is no structure to me. I'm kind of like McCarthy's writing, man. I just go off on a tangent, and I try to bring it back. But it's difficult to talk about books. I finally started to annotate books now that I've started to review things and take notes about how I want to review these, because I want to do an eloquent review. I want to somebody get something new other than just a laugh out of my videos. At first I was just looking for laughs. I thought that was great. And then I always liked the videos that gave me something new, gave me something to think about, and provided a good review. And now, that's kind of what I tried to do, and try to hone that type of skill of reviewing a book.
yeah, I mean, it's funny. I was talking with another friend on his podcast, and we were talking about, you know, expressing yourself. Because I mentioned to him, I'm like, oh, I'm like, I find I express myself better when I'm, like, writing it down than I am when, like, I'm actually talking. He's like, oh, so you're like Grandpa Simpson. And I just laughed. I'm like, oh, I guess so. I just totally forgot about that. I hadn't seen The
I
Simpsons in a
mean,
long
you're
time.
yourself when you don't write something down. And at first, I was just, I took one take. Not one take. I would figure out what I'm gonna say, and it would be just one shot until I figured out how to edit and things like that. I got an editing thing, and now I love editing. That's my favorite part of this. But when I get excited, I tend to go off, in no man's land. I got five different plot points, and I just go all over the place when I'm talking about them, and I try to bring it back, to the point I was trying to make. But yeah, it's tough. You definitely, you can get your personality out there, and I'm trying not to curse as much in my videos and things like
Yeah, no,
that.
my
That's why
grandma. Yeah, my grandma watched one of my videos, and she was just like, "Britton, why are you swearing?" I'm like, "Oh man." So I had to make like I was actually reviewing a McCarthy book. I'm like, some people said that my grandma mainly said that I shouldn't curse so much, so I'll do my
yeah.
best. So I've gotten better
I
with
think my
it. But
My
I mean, you can
grandma
curse on here,
probably
it's
would
fine,
have slapped
but,
me for not cursing enough, you know? My grandma was a savage, bro.
Oh, your grandma.
Yeah, she would have been pissed I didn't drop a few more F-bombs.
Yeah, no, I remember my parents. They used to live in Florida. They lived with this. They knew this guy called Ricky, and his mom would just drink vodka straight and just cuss at him. I'm like, oh my god.
I was cheap stuff, Casser too. Ugh.
Oh jeez, yeah. You know, it's yeah, vodka's not good, but you know,
It was my choice. It was my drink of choice back in the day, but I was more of like a Kettle One, high class type vodka. It was just a twist of lemon when I did that. When I did those types of things.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you cover mostly dark fantasy on your channel. I know.
Yeah, man.
Actually
I'm
watched your
trying.
Actually watched your Beyond Redemption, which I have a copy of here.
Yeah, I saw you talking to Epic about that, man.
Yeah, no, I might actually read it this year now that oh.
I'm showing my wife my cat how much better it looks.
Oh. Yeah, I saw a video with you and your wife. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I like to get personal with my videos. When I these booktubers, Mike and Jimmy, Joanna, I remember just kind of like I felt like we were cool. When they suggested a book that I like, I was like, oh man, I know you guys. I remember hitting. I did a collab with a whole bunch of booktubers.
Oh yeah,
pet thing.
Dude,
I remember hitting up Mike
because I don't know if I could edit all that. Plus, I don't have editing software at them. I can edit, but I don't have any software at the moment. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to wait a while before I do a multi-channel collab.
I hit Mike from Mike's. Hey, come here. All right, my dogs.
So you had a pug.
I hit up Mike from Mike's Fantasy Book Reviews, and I was like, "Hey, your Astros suck. I'm a Phillies fan because they beat us in the World Series." And I started just talking to him like I knew him. I hit him up on Discord, and he was like, yeah, I'll do your video." The way he sent the message back to me was like, "Who is this guy? Just talking to me like he knows me." And that's how we get with these, with these booktubers that we consistently watch. And
I'm actually hoping to have Mike on this show next month because I tried talking to him on like Instagram and he wouldn't respond back. I'm like, fuck this. So I had to go. So I went to his email. I felt really weird doing that, but I'm like, hey, I tried sending you because you said because I heard from somewhere you listen to you'll talk to different channels. Could you come on mine? And he's like, oh yeah, dude, it's cool. Might have to wait a month though because I'm busy. Yeah, I'm like, all right, I can do that. I
remember when I hit him up, I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't have just spoken to him like we've been boys for 10 years, and I'm breaking his balls about his Astros, and he does
basketball.
I'm a Phillies fan.
I don't like basketball that much.
It's baseball, Astros. Yeah, he's a big Houston fan.
No, I mean, I know you were talking about baseball, but I know he was posting about the Rockets. I'm like,
oh, okay, yeah, because of the probably the draft that just passed.
Yeah, no, Thunder here, though I'm not a big basketball guy. I'm from Oklahoma City, A lot of Thunder fans out here.
Bet.
Yeah, no. I'm more of a football guy. I've watched some other sports. I've watched a little of hockey. I've watched some baseball. I like the Rangers, football, I like college, NFL. It's hard to pick a team to root for. I know we kind of have a little tension there because you're a Philly fan and
there's gonna be some tension, man. If you're a Dallas fan, yep. I was like, all right, you know what?
Yeah, I know. I remember I was on your Discord.
He likes the books I like and stuff. I'll try to be nice. I'm in the unexpected party
Discord was really cool. You're just like, oh yeah, what's your NFL team? You were like the Cowboys, and then I don't think it was you who sent it, but it was someone else. It was just like, bruh, like it's just.
I was like, I think they probably, because everybody in there knows me, and I do have a video where I pull a Dallas Cowboy glass out of a thing. It was like, and I made my kid go put it in the corner of the yard where the dog shit.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean,
you gotta check out that video.
Oh
man,
it's I'll probably have a laugh. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah, I hit up Alex Nieves. He's a Dallas fan. You can see like he has stuff in the background. And I hit him up on Discord. I'm like, yo, go watch my video. 2 minutes, go in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. I got a message for you.
No, I mean,
so he watched.
I actually thought Philly was gonna win the Super Bowl last year, but
I mean,
Kansas City won.
Yeah,
that was a good game up until like the last couple minutes. I was like, dang it!
Yeah,
it was such a good game before.
I don't like talking about it. The day it went off, I tried not to think about it for the rest of the year.
Hey, I mean, you guys beat the Patriots, so I mean that's in another Super Bowl. So.
That was probably the best Super Bowl that's been played in years. That was such a good game. I think there was like 2 punts in that game, and that was it.
Yeah, no, I remember that Super Bowl. I'm like, oh man, I'm wondering if Tom Brady's really gonna do it again, and then nope.
He beat us once for they beat us once and we beat them once.
Yeah, no, when it's football season, I watch the football channels religiously.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should get up a booktuber fantasy football league if you're down. I don't know if you do that. I'm kind of into it,
My parents do it. I've never done it though myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
So much fun.
Maybe someday. Yeah, that would actually be a fun idea. Get the. Yeah. I was like, wait, you can do it when you're like 14. This was like several years ago, and my parents were like, yeah, you can do it at any age you want. Because I thought it was like an adult thing, right? Because my parents would do it. Well, someday. I just don't know if I know how it works.
It's easy to figure out. I got my wife into it and stuff. Now she's hooked. She loves it. We're in like 2 leagues together every year. And, it's a good time. You put up $50. I get a league going, and yeah, we have a good time with it.
How many sports do you got over there? You have like the 76ers, the Phillies, I think. Isn't that the hockey team, or is that baseball?
The Phillies is the baseball team. The Flyers is the hockey team, and of course the Eagles are the football team.
Yeah.
Now our soccer team did really well this year. I can't remember their name at the moment, but yeah, we got Philadelphia starting to get into soccer too.
Yeah, no, I mean I remember last football season I was pretty impressed with the Eagles. I'm like, oh yeah, wow, because they kind of went from to oh,
I mean we had a good schedule last year. That I do know, and this year we're really going to see what we're made of. We got one of the hardest schedules in the league, so
you got good players at least.
Yeah, we paid Jalen Hurts, got AJ Brown. We got a good receiving core. A good thing you need in football is an offensive line, and we've had a great offensive line for years and years.
Yeah, no, Dallas. For Dallas, it just feels like a slow and just like gangrenous death.
Yeah, I mean, you guys.
We have
put a lot
team.
of money into high-end players, but don't you got to fortify the big men, man. It's the offensive line, the defensive line. That's where you got to focus, and then you go out and get the big people. At least that's my opinion and how we do it here in Philly for sure.
Yeah, I mean we've also had to deal with Jerry long before I was born, but it's
yeah.
It's not fun to be. I would say it's not fun to be a Dallas fan, but like everyone's like, shut up, you're not the Browns.
Yeah, the Browns is tough to me.
Oh
for
my
sure.
god. Oh, Yeah, one of my friends or the same guy I was talking about The Simpsons with. He's a Lions fan. I'm like, oh my god, dude, that might be even worse than the fucking Browns.
It's gotta be tough. Things are looking up for them though, but
yeah, no, it actually looks like it's going for not the Browns. It was looking up for the Browns, and then Browns went Browns again. Ugh. Oh Lord. Yeah, no. So, you like the Eagles? Oh yeah, that's right. I asked you what football team do you like, and you just went Eagles. I was just like, oh shit. He's gonna fucking bully my ass over fucking Dallas.
I think I was pretty nice to you. I let you slide, you know. Mm-hmm.
No, but cutting back to books. Don't mean to much as I enjoy talking about football. But yeah, no. What are some books books that you covered on your channel that you really enjoyed doing? That you were like, man, that was fun.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed, the Malazan. I've done Malazan. I had a good time with my Beyond Redemption review, and I've done a lot of R. Scott Baker because he's who I started. That was the hardest book I ever read, and I started off. My first video was done by, I did A Darkness That Comes Before, and I'm just kind of like I'm open in my palette here. I want to get into other stuff. I tend to read dark fantasy because I tend to give me fantasy that's as much true to life as possible. Yeah, I know there's dragons in it, but I don't. I like me an anti-hero. I like my heroes decapitated by the end of the first book. I don't. I really
big
enjoy.
Game of Thrones fan.
Oh yeah, that's the kind of how I got in. Yeah, it's totally how I got in. I'm one of those. I got into Game of Thrones, the TV show. As the TV show was going on, I read the first 2 books, and then the TV show was wrapping up, and I was getting healthier in my life. And when it ended, I just was like, where do I go from here? And I knew I loved fantasy. And when I looked up fantasy, I just kept hearing that Brandon Sanderson's the best, and Wheel of Time is the best place to start, or Patrick Rothfuss. And I believe when I started reading again, it was like, I think my first books were Rothfuss. I read both of those, The Name of the Wind, Wise Man's Fear, and then I bought Mistborn. Then I bought, after Mistborn, I bought Mark Lawrence, The Prince of Fools, I think. No, it's Prince of
Nothing or something? I don't remember.
Prince of Nothing is Baker.
Oh, my bad. It is, that was Baker.
Yeah. It's Prince of Thorns. I'm sorry. It's the Prince of Thorns, and I read those 3, and I really enjoyed the being in Stuart Gancraft's head. He's a sadist, and I thoroughly enjoyed that series. I read all 3 books, and I got into Stormlight Archive. But then when I read Joe Abercrombie, that was when the light clicked in my head. Was like, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to read. I want to read, whatever they call grimdark. I wanted dark adult fantasy.
Yeah, no, I get that. I actually have First Law over there. I don't want to pull it out though. But I did complete the trilogy in May, and I if I remember, I called it a nut kick of an ending.
Yeah, I love what Abercrombie does. He really subverts tropes, and in my opinion, that's as true to life as you're gonna get. not everybody that is, the knight in shining armor is the hero. Sometimes your down, dirty, and morally gray characters can be a hero at times. And I really connected with Glock, with Logan Fingers, guys that are going through shit in their lives and trying to make the best of it.
Mm.
And that's just what I gravitated to. Give me a character that isn't perfect. And I felt like that was more true to life, and that was just what I gravitate to now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I might actually. I watched your Beyond Redemption review, and I might actually get off my lazy ass and finally read it at some point. Maybe not this
Yeah,
month. I have some other stuff I'm doing,
the
but
magic system in that was fantastic.
I mean,
It's
I'm not
about
like I don't worry too much about like magic systems or anything, but the way you describe magic or the way like the magic was described, I'm like that sounds really fascinating. I really want to read
yeah,
that.
I mean, coming, me being a mentally ill head case like I am, like, that's a magic system that I relate to. That magic system is, the more mentally ill you are, the stronger you are, because it depends on your mental illness. That's what the magic system is based on. And it's not as fleshed out, but you get the idea. It is fantastic. And Fletcher really did his research when he was looking into certain mental illnesses and trauma and reactions to trauma. You can see all that within the story and within the relationships of the characters, and it was excellent. It was a very good book. I'm dying to read the second one, and the third one, The End, The War to End All, is coming out in September, and that's going to wrap up the series. So I would definitely suggest jumping on, Beyond Redemption,
Yeah, I mean,
Mirror's Truth out of the way, and the third one's going to be dropping in September, and there's going to be a lot of people talking about it, I'm sure.
yeah, I mean, I picked it up after I watched Mark Slowly Read, who's another person I've wanted to get on here, but he's just busy with life, so I haven't been able to get him
That
on yet.
happens.
But yeah, I saw his review and I'm like, wow, this sounds really interesting. So I ordered it off of Amazon and I haven't read it yet. I am definitely planning on it, so you know.
Mark can make the obituaries interesting, man. That guy
He can
is
make an obituary sound
yeah,
appealing.
that
Yeah.
he was the guy who that I watched that like anytime he dropped a video I was watching it. He just does spectacular reviews. He's very he very eloquent in how he speaks, and he just brings a flavor that I love. And
Yeah, and he doesn't like.
I,
Yeah, he doesn't like ramble on too
no, and he
long
and he
like Mike
sticks.
sometimes does.
He's
So
very true to himself. He sticks to book reviews. And I was just gonna stick to book reviews, but I started doing my TBRs and things that they get the most views. But Mark just stuck with book reviews. I respected that, and just the way he speaks and is able to break down the characters, the relationships, the themes in the books is just something that I truly respected, and was something that I wish that I'm trying to work on. But if I waited until I was that good, I'd probably put out, not that good, but if I waited until I really was able to explain a book like that as well as someone like Mark, I would probably not put out a video. I probably have one every freaking month. But Mark's channel was definitely, um, who one of the tubers I really respected and looked up to.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Beyond Redemption was one of the ones he sold me on. I think he was the one who finally gave me the push to finally pick up the blade itself, or well, I had bought it because I had heard it was good, and then he finally gave me he's like, I'm gonna read this. Okay.
I would say that his he has given me most books that he has recommended most books that I bought. So I've already had A Song of Ice and Fire and Abercrombie, but he suggested Low Town by Daniel Polanski. When he suggested that, I bought that. He suggested Prince of Thorns. I bought that because of his suggestion, and Baker. And I bought those
Oh
because of
yeah,
his
Low Town's another
suggestion.
one I'd like to read at some
And
point.
Beyond Redemption. Yeah, I'm sorry. Most of the books that he is, and Adrian Selby's Snakewood. I believe it's Adrian Selby. Most things that he suggested is what I read. And funny enough, like I'm kind of friends. I'm not. I hit him up every now and again on Messenger. I'm just like, do you have a manga suggestion? He's like, dude, I really like this Doro Hedoro, and I bought that too. So anything that man suggested, I probably bought and am about to read.
Yeah, I saw you cover Uzumaki, which I've
Yeah.
looked at some stuff from that, and I'll admit, like, I don't scare easy when it comes to like comics, but like some of the panels in that make my skin crawl. Like,
Yeah, Uzuma, like that was a thing with horror. I think when Friday the 13th 20 came out,
oh god,
Jason in space.
Jason
I was
X,
done.
yeah.
Yeah, Jason in space. I was done with horror. That's when I was like, yo, here's the white flag. I am never watching another horror movie again. This is ridiculous. And then, Saw came out and they had a good idea, and then they just regurgitated 4 or 5 more times. And I can't stand horror that is not unique, that isn't something new. But when I got into, manga, I wanted to give horror another shot because R. Scott Baker, he has a lot of horror elements within his trilogy, as well as his 4 books in the Aspect Emperor. And I really wanted to give that another go because I was intrigued by the horror elements I found in those books, and I heard good things about Uzumaki, and it was fresh, it was unique. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I actually had a friend of mine several years back who had like an incident with Baker, so I kind of was hesitant to try him. But now I've been seeing like Epic Tales talking. He's become bigger on like BookTube, or at least Fantasy BookTube, that is. So now I'm more curious. And plus, he does trilogies, so I'm like, oh yeah, I can do a trilogy. I mean, I don't like those multi-book long, with exceptions, of course, like Harry Potter and Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah, Harry Potter. Baker, your trilogy, you're gonna feel like you read 5 books. Just by his style of writing, his command of the language, the vocabulary is definitely next level. But I don't think I've read prose in anybody's writing that were as good as his. You're just like, wow, what the fuck did I just read? And then you'll read it again. It's that phenomenal. It's just, and he starts to incorporate philosophy, and you really start to dive into free will and free thinking, and Baker definitely had some balls to go in and put out the type of style of books that he did. You gotta, in my opinion, you have to respect that. I'm surprised he found a publisher to publish his books, and those were his first books. And for that man, for what I read in that first book, for that to be a dude's first book, I was floored. I couldn't believe it. I believe they are his first books. I'm not 100% because he has dipped his toes into other genres. And another book, Disciple of the Dog, which is a mystery, and I had that on my shelf, and I got to read it at some point.
Yeah, I'm becoming more persuaded to try him out at some point. At some point, I will, because
I would say, are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
I do enjoy it, though I've kind of moved on in some sorts from Lord of the Rings, but I still enjoy it. Yes. So
I get the feeling that when it gets too epic, it can be tough to keep. So I started 4 years ago, and I've only read like few authors, because I have read so many trilogies and you know I would say Abercrombie has what, 9 books? About like 9 books, and I've read them all. And so does R. Scott Baker has 7, and I've read them all. And I keep just jumping into these authors, and I need to expand my palette and go find other people that I enjoy. But that's what I'm going to work on probably come next year. But I'm already starting a reread of Baker in August with a bunch of tubers. You should join. You should join us, Britton, for real.
I have to get the book first, but thanks for the invite at least.
Oh, that's tough because they are selling out, especially that second series.
So
you can find the Prince of Nothing, but once you get to the Aspect Emperor, you're gonna get different size books that are available and stuff like that really aren't aesthetically pleasing on my shelf.
Yeah, there's another guy in a Discord server that I'm in, obsessed with Baker, and I'm like, I'll try him out eventually. I'm not saying never, but I'm taking my time. I saw you covered another book from Rob Hayes, which is another book I had heard about. I don't know if you've ever watched Tori Talks on YouTube, but
she's the one who suggested.
Oh yeah, I was about to say she loves that book, and from the way she described it, I'm like, oh man, that sounds awesome. I want to read that.
Yeah, it was it was the action sequences that Hayes illustrated were just fantastic. The character work was also very well done. A little less world building, but it's good. They were really easier reads, quicker reads. You're not going into the 400 or 500 page mark with them. And I've read 2 of them and I do have the other in the wings, Spirits of Vengeance and the Mortal Technique series. I'm hopefully going to finish that soon as well.
Yeah, I always get that mixed up with Immortal Technique, the rapper. I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah. I know him. I think not that I know him, but I think I've definitely heard of him.
Yeah. He did Dance with the Devil, which is one of the most harrowing rap songs of all time. But anyway, are there other genres you would like to try? I mean, I know you tried the Western with Blood Meridian, which again I have right here. It's funny. I actually prefer the copy that you held because that was the first. When I first read Blood Meridian, I got it at my library, and I went to a used bookstore and they were selling it, so I just bought it, and it's fine. I don't mind it. It's a very good copy. But
I bought that copy. So.
Oh, you did? You bought this copy right here?
Yes, so I did buy that copy because
I saw you had the copies for the road.
I messed this one up so bad. I ended up drawing all over it like a 3-year-old does a Denny's placemat, man. I drew all over this thing. I tore it up. I made notes. I freaking drew all over it. You can see I have underlines in there. I'm not sure if it's coming up, but yeah, I drew on it. I make my notes in my books because I own them.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else is gonna read it.
I can't bring myself to annotate my books. Like if I
if
I had like a Kindle,
I write in them.
Now if I had a Kindle, probably, but I don't know how to use it. It's weird. I'm an old man in like a 22-year-old man's body, so I'm like, I don't know how to use all this Kindle stuff. Maybe someday.
The Kindle is a lifesaver, man. You can do your notes right there. You don't have to hold the book open. You can hold it down, and I just got my first e-reader. I got a Paperwhite, and that thing's fantastic.
I might ask for one on this next Christmas, but we'll see.
Dude, today is Amazon Prime Day, dude. There's some big sales, man. I would get on that.
Oh man,
it's like only $80.
I have an Amazon account because if I can't find books at my local store, I'll just go on Amazon and get them. So
I also had this made for me.
Oh yeah,
The
that is a very
Blood
nice
Meridian
shirt.
T-shirt. The Blood Meridian T-shirt. I had that put on a T-shirt for me, as well as I got a Logan Fingers T-shirt as well. I picked a dark color. You can't see the writing underneath.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, I've thought about like, cause I've run another podcast called Britton Jake Go to the Movies because I really enjoy films. We're always joking about making merch, and I heard there's those like places where you can like make your own merch. I've always wanted
Yeah.
to do that. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, there's a site you can go and develop your own stuff. Man, you should give it a shot. What kind of movies do you like?
Oh, I mean, I like crime movies, horror stuff, science fiction, of course. I like superheroes. I'm a big comic book fan.
Yeah.
Though I am kind of getting burned out on the Marvel Cinematic Universe a little bit, but
I think that they kind of after
Endgame.
yeah, after Endgame, it seems to have taken a dip. Um, I'm just a little disappointed. I wanted more Wolverine. That's who I grew up collecting
Oh, I
comics
love
from
Wolverine.
him.
I have a Wolverine shirt I got last Christmas.
He's
I
my
love it.
favorite. Logan, yep, he was always my favorite. Growing up, I collected all of his comic books. I drew them and things like that. But the movies were okay, but I wanted a little more from them.
It's interesting because like the solo movies of Wolverine went from like really bad to pretty good, and I personally love Logan. I thought that was a great film, but yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's I would definitely like to see some Wolverine action at some point, like a proper like Wolverine. I guess we kind of got to. I don't know, yeah, but yeah, I love Wolverine, and I'm often like griping at how they handle him because they don't know what to do with him at the moment.
You know what? The actor they picked, unfortunately I can't remember his name right now, but they picked a good actor for
Oh
him.
my gosh, yeah. Are you talking about Hugh Jackman?
That's it. Yep.
Yeah,
He
oh my
did him
gosh, he's
very
so
well.
good.
hmm
I mean, everyone's always like, "Oh, he's too tall to play Wolverine," but like, dude, he freaking was Wolverine. I loved him. I thought he was great. I didn't even know he was Australian. I was like, "Oh, well, he can really pull off that American accent." Or well, I guess he's Canadian technically, or well, Wolverine is.
So you read Blood Meridian?
Yeah, a few years ago. I was one of those kids. I read I read The Road when I was probably way too young to read it, and of course I was kind of thrown off. I'm like, where's all the dialogue at? But for some reason I was just entranced by that book, and I did No Country for Old Men because the movie came out, and I really enjoyed that movie. And then I'm like, I'm gonna read Blood Meridian because I'm like, yeah. That was actually not long after I got out of high school, and I did not quite get it the first time. I enjoyed myself, or maybe that's the
Sure, I
wrong
wouldn't
word.
have gotten it at your age either, man.
I'll
So
admit, I
don't.
probably enjoyable was probably not a good word to say because like a lot of it is like violent and messed up, but I didn't hate reading it. It was just like I wasn't expecting it would be like a chore because I tend to read pretty fast.
I would say the story is not the greatest story, but it's more of how it's presented to you and what is seeping below the words. The themes is really what captivated me, and anything that the judge said, I underlined,
It's hard
I
not to be entranced,
reread.
right? Even though
So
it's hard not to be entranced.
yeah, by that character for sure. And I really enjoyed what he said, and I was on um, Joanna's channel with Baron from Brain on Books, and he said that he loves books that ask questions that we don't normally ask, or have you questioning things you don't normally question, and that is what that book did for sure for me. I looked into the history of that time when I did my review.
I
The
mean, it's pretty
18,
scary thinking there was a real Judge Holden.
yeah, there's a, there was a real Glanton gang, and they were scalpers. And a lot of the stories that he has produced, McCarthy, are derivative from things that he has read before. I think
Oh yeah, I think that's what's a lot of authors.
yeah, he's famous for saying that books are made from other books, I believe. That's one of his sayings, and it's the way that people talk about his work is just unbelievable. Yeah, I went out there after I finished it. I watched people review it and what they thought about Blood Meridian. These are people that are way smarter than I will ever be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. It makes me want to be that intelligent. It makes me want to look into philosophy and different authors. Homer's The Odyssey and the Iliad, and
I read those in high
you know.
school.
Oh yeah, see, I don't think I ever did. I don't even remember what I read in high school, but it really made me want to go out there and explore more works just to see how to critically analyze a book of this nature.
Yeah, I mean it's not easy. you
No,
just
there's a
you
lot
just
out
do it a
there.
lot, and you have to think about it a lot, and that's tough to do at times. And then sometimes there's the books that just don't jive with you. You're like, I don't, what the fuck is this? You
Yeah,
know?
I started Senlin Ascends, and I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if I'm jiving with the style of the
I got that book
writing
right
at
here.
the moment. Yeah, have you read it?
I have not yet. That's another one I'm hoping maybe after my like big summer like read thing, I can read it. I can
What are you
sneak it
reading
in.
now?
Right now, I'm reading. I'm doing a buddy read of Stories of Your Life by Ted Chiang. I'm enjoying it. Embassy Town, which is kind of a weird
Oh,
book.
China. I want to get into him so bad, man.
Oh yeah, I got Perdido Street Station up there. I'm always telling people to read that. I think you would like that one if you like dark stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And the Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, because I love comics, and this is also very good. I'm enjoying it a lot. And also, I'm catching up on Black Hammer, which is a comic book. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. I think I told you this yesterday because again we did that practice call, but it's been slow this month. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's July or I just got
It's
back
getting
from
hot. You
vacation and
got to
like
get out. You got to go get some sun, man. You can't stay inside and read all the time, but once the temperature kicks up, things get a little slow. I had to do a family vacation. Got a little bit of reading there, but
I'm
I'm
so
really
bad at
thinking.
reading when I'm on vacation because it's like, bah! I'm not in my office chair, not in
Oh,
my chair. I'm not
so
like
you
in my
have you have
house.
a particular spot you really like when you read, huh?
Yeah, I know. It's like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. He has his like spot on the couch, and he just like he gets really freaked out if he doesn't sit there.
Yeah, that's my spot. Yep.
Yeah, I actually read Blood Meridian again because I'm like, I don't know if the words were nice, but I don't know if I entirely got what he was going for. I also watched a bunch of analysis on YouTube. Thank God for the internet.
Yeah, it's a book that you can reread and pick up something new each time or have a different perspective. I feel because I feel so left behind because I just kind of started reading 4 years ago. I tend to read fast, and now this is a book you do not read
Yeah, I
fast.
know
This is a book
exactly.
you do not.
Because I read
Yeah, this
fast
is
too, and it's like because
this
my
is a
buddy's
book
always
you do
teasing me.
not
He's always
do
like, "Dude, how do you
audio.
read so fast?" I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just like my attention, like, or I don't know if it's like I can just process information really fast, or it's probably that.
I
But
would
or
say,
if my attention span is just
this guy, and definitely this guy.
that.
Definitely, you take your time with authors like this. At least for me,
Yeah, no,
it's
Malazan,
very.
I'm kind of spooked, or that's a I'm gonna get made fun of. I've talked a lot about my. I'm always trying to get people to convince me to read Malazan, just kind of as like a running joke on the channel. But I had a buddy. I've had people who I really admire and respect who really enjoy Malazan, and I have people who I admire and respect who don't. So I kind of get the feeling it's one of those kind of love it or hate it kind of experiences.
Yeah, I think Malazan's just something that's so fantastical. It's the imagination of this man is second to none. It is when I if you say, what's the first thing you think about when you hear the word epic? It would be Malazan for me. And I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I've heard.
yeah.
I had a buddy who's like, dude, this is proper epic. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it should be in the dictionary a picture of Gardens of the Moon next to epic. Because it's just the scope is just so vast, and it is just you have many different plot lines, many different characters, but the scale, the chaos, the craziness is just kicked up to 11. It is just absolutely bonkers. And it's just his imagination. There's Talani Mas, these undead people that kind of come out of the ground and can just disappear into the ground
Yeah, I know
again.
there's a
And
guy
the
called
way he
Whiskey
writes
Jack.
that,
I'm like, that's a cool name.
Whiskey Jack is a cool character. They have people turning. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody, but just the man's imagination is. There is a prologue. A priest is kind of like walking up to somebody, and he's got flies all over him, like
Oh
all over
God.
him, to
Oh,
the
it sounds
point where
like
the flies
Candyman.
are dripping off of him and hitting the ground and splattering, and they're flying away. And he talks to this person, and then all of
Reminds
a
me of
sudden,
Candyman, except with flies instead of
yeah, it's
bees.
all of a sudden, boom, he disappears in the flies. It's just a absolute bonkers, some of the things that he
I mean, you
does.
say you like horror. Have you seen Candyman before?
Yeah, so I grew up in the 80s, man. We
Oh,
had the
okay.
best horror ever. That's why I'm so disappointed with horror these days. Hellraiser, Candyman, Child's Play, um, Friday the 13th. These were great ideas to start. And then they just shit all over it by coming out with movie after movie after movie. And like The Ring, okay, so I believe you're a lot younger. When The Ring came out, that
I
was
remember
something,
that movie. That scared the crap out of my generation.
yeah,
I
it
remember
was
that.
something new though, and it was a new type of horror. This person coming out of a TV. And then they did, three different poltergeists. That was a great, everybody's fear of clowns basically comes from poltergeists, and it just the genre just kept regurgitating the same shit over and over again, and that really just put a stick in my craw. I really did not want to watch that again, and my poor 14-year-old loves horror movies, and he can't watch it with me because I'm always like sucking my teeth, I'm rolling my eyes. At the end of the movie, I'm like, so when's the next one coming out? Gonna be
Did you
out,
ever show him
next
like
year.
The Thing or Alien or anything like that?
Alien was great. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, no, like the original one from.
Yes, Alien, Jaws, those were great. You know what? Predator. And
Yeah,
then they
I like
kept,
Predator.
they just kept going like Alien versus Predator, and
Yeah.
it kind of ruined these franchises for me.
Yeah.
To you don't always remember the last thing you guys did. You know what I mean? So I always remember like that the last Predator movie, rather than how good those first couple were.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah, it's kind of tough with stuff like Predator because it's like there's not too much you could do without becoming repetitive after a while. So Yeah. I mean, my favorite horror movie is The Thing, the Carpenter version. So, yeah.
Let's check that one out.
You've never seen it?
Talk about. Go ahead.
Wait, you have seen it or you haven't?
I don't know if I have.
Oh man, so good. Love it.
Did you say Carpenter did it?
Yeah, John Carpenter did Halloween.
Definitely, yeah. I've heard that name a bunch of times though.
Oh man. But anyway,
What year did it come out? Are we talking the old thing?
82, 1982. So 80s.
Oh, you know what? I've probably seen that. He comes out of the swamp like it's Swamp Thing, right?
No, that's different.
Okay, all right.
There's a scene where a guy like has a heart attack and he like the doctor's trying to bring him back to life and then his mouth opens in his stomach. It's that movie.
Yes, I think I do remember that. I remember Chud, Puppet Master. The 80s and 90s.
I see it on Tubi, as a matter of fact.
What is?
Chud or Tubi.
Chud, yeah, where they came from the sewer.
Yeah, I have a buddy who's like, I remember Chud. I'm like, oh man. I look it up. I'm like, it sounds like the stupidest thing.
I had a friend that we called Chud. We still do. We call him. We're 40. We still call him Chud.
Yeah, no, I also like Child's Play as well. It's probably because Chucky's a really entertaining villain. So.
Yeah, it just got overdone for me in Child's Play. He was funny here. I believe they also came out with a series on Netflix, which I had to watch.
With,
I had to watch that with my kid. Then he got into Scream, and I had to watch that one with my kid, and I can't do it anymore. Like, give me something new. That's really for me. That's why I read. Because I'm really really disenfranchised with with Hollywood. Now they know how to make money, and they'll beat that horse to death. That's why I just want something new. Oh.
I watched the new Indiana Jones movie the other day, and I was like, it could have been so much better. I grew up watching the original 3 movies when I was a kid, I played the Lego game. Good times.
Really don't want them to do. I don't want them to do remakes with anybody. They're ruining Star Wars. They're starting to ruin Lord of the Rings for people with this new series, which I thought was okay. It really just very clean. I wanted a little. They just needed to put a filter and dirty some people up in the crowd because it just seemed too clean for that type of story. But I thought it was okay. The Rings of Power.
Yeah,
but
I couldn't get through it. It was too long, and I'm like, this is fucking boring.
I always try to find something new, when we talk about new. So much you can do with the fantasy genre, fantasy and horror at that. Now, there were a few shows that got canceled that I thought were great. Utopia, I thought that was interesting. I don't know if you saw that. It was.
I have not seen this. I think I've heard of it though.
A comic book, but they only had like one season. The one season that they had of I Am Not Okay with This. They only did one season.
I did see that one. That was really good.
That was really good. I was really into it, and then all the I guess COVID kind of fucked that up, and they never put out a second season. There's a lot of things that we could do with fantasy, but I don't feel it's when they produce these series, they're just not making it the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I remember reading the First Law trilogy, and I'm like, this could make a really good 3-season television series.
Yeah, so when I started reading this, I started making the script up in my head. Thinking about the movie script. I was like, okay, this scene, this is how we're going to start this. Glocta's walking down
very cinematic in style.
steps.
They could do it. I think.
For sure. And I really hope they don't fuck this, Best Served Cold up, because if they make it a decent movie, they can introduce the wider audience to this world. Then they can do kind of a prequel with the Blade itself, and hopefully, really a few good movies there. Of course, I believe you would have to combine the first two books as a one movie, and then I believe the third book could be a movie on its own, if they did that correctly. Because it itself, it was kind of plotless for quite some time.
Yeah.
But you really you need to build the characters more quickly for a movie, and then I believe if they could combine the first two, they could make one really good movie, and the third one could also be. And then I don't know if you've read The Age of Madness, but that was spectacular
not yet.
also.
I'm taking a break after I finish Best Served Cold. I'm taking a break from Abercrombie for a little bit, so
I really like Best Served Cold.
I did like it. I did think it did get a little repetitive after a while, but aside from that, now I know people are going to be like, "Oh, he's repetitive through the whole series." Well, I know that, but it felt more intrusive in Best Served Cold a little bit. I'm like, okay,
talking about a revenge tale, and
like
there's a lot
Shepard
of people
wouldn't shut up about how much pride he had. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't care anymore. Or I do, but he's because characters are still really good in that. But I'm like, oh my god.
Oh yeah,
dude, he can do repetition very well. In the first trilogy, it's done pretty well. And then Best Served Cold, I was like, okay, you're getting a little carried away with this. A little bit. Really liked Morveer. I'm like, dude, this guy is just the best, like, slimy son of a bitch you'll ever meet in your life.
The Poisoner?
Yeah,
is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked him. He was a little bitch sometimes, though. I did want to smack him every now and again because he really thought a lot of himself,
Even though he's like, oh, I don't tolerate arrogance. I'm like, dude, you're the most, like, self-absorbed out of all of them. What are you talking about? It's just like, I don't know, I find those characters who are just completely oblivious to, like, their own problems, like, I find them entertaining, I mean, I like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so there you go.
Live outside Philadelphia. One of my favorite shows ever.
About to say, I'm sure you do, cause that totally escaped my mind. I was gonna be like, had you seen that? And I'm like, well, I would hope so, you're from there.
Oh yeah, I've watched them all.
I need to catch up with the more recent seasons, but man, that's hilarious. I love that show. But yeah,
and then some excellent character work. You don't forget characters like that, like Charlie and Danny DeVito, and that. These are excellent written characters, and they're just so funny. The situations they put them in was just hysterical.
I mean, they're all bad, but I still feel pity towards them, and I'm like, I shouldn't feel bad for them, but I kind of do.
I only feel bad for Charlie. The rest I really don't feel bad for. Charlie's the one that I feel bad for.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have a soft spot for Charlie because he's just he's just a disaster. It's just, oh man, but yeah, no, it's I also like Frank.
Frank, dude, that guy, it's so, his hair's never combed.
He's a freaking
always sticking out on the side and stuff. Yeah, he's a scumbag, Frank.
Yeah, one of my favorite episodes of It's Always Sunny is the one where they're trying to throw him an intervention, and like Frank's just going off the rails with the alcohol, and like him and Mac are like walking around, and Mac's just like, "Hey man," he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" It's like, "Where'd you come from?" He's like, dude, I've been standing next to you.
I'm so glad they brought him in to do that show. It really revitalized Danny's career. He's
a good actor, man. He's hilarious in that show.
Yeah. Sure.
It's Always, or I guess Best Served Cold was sort of the It's Always Sunny of the of the First Law world.
Yeah, you could probably, you could compare those two for
Just
sure.
a bunch of not really nice people doing stuff.
Yeah, the quiet guy with the numbers. I love him.
Yeah, Friendly. Yeah, he was cool.
Friendly, yes. Yes, what a great cat. Friendly's such a great character.
Yeah, I know. I heard he's in another one of the books. I don't remember which one, but
he might have made it to the age, but I can't remember if he did.
I know he shacks up with Casca at the end of Best Served Cold, so I'm sure they'll get into wacky misadventures.
Yes, Casca was such a great character too. I mean, you talk about your typical drunk, and his dialogue, his japs at people.
He's always wanting to get drunk.
His whole facade was just perfect.
Yeah, I know.
And was definitely the highlight of Best Served Cold, was getting into Casca a little more. He definitely got in there and before they are hanged, and to revisit him in Best Served Cold was just great, and you get a lot of him in Best Served Cold.
Yeah, no, I remember him in Before They Were Hanged. I'm like, why do people love him? Like, he's funny, but it's like, yeah. Then I read Best Served Cold. I'm like, oh, okay.
Now you get it, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he's What was weird? What was funny about Best Served Cold? I thought the side characters were more interesting, and I wanted to know what they were up to more than the
I would say Shivers. Getting to see, we get to see Shivers again in the Age of Madness, and getting to Shivers. He did have this kind of Logan Nine Fingers feel because he was a Northerner. Trying to redeem himself, essentially. But yeah, I believe the side characters, the guy the Poisoner and his sidekick.
He really loves the Joe Abercrombie really loves those cyclical character arcs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so do I. I mean, I love a guy that's trying to better himself, and does things to do that, but still ends up right back where he was
I can
when he
see
started.
why you enjoy First Law then, because it's ripe full of that.
Yeah, I'm not the, I'm as morally gray as they come. I'm a selfish bastard. I do some questionable things in my life. And I like me a character who's kind of like that, and that for me is somebody I can relate to.
Despite the fact Shivers kind of did grate on me a little bit, I did like his journey and how he's almost like a mirror to Logan himself, which is kind of ironic because Logan killed his brother. Which, might have done him a favor, because Best Served Cold, he's like, I fucking hated my brother. Which that made me sad. I'm like, geez, that's just sad.
Yeah, it does. In Best Served Cold, his arc is a tough one, for sure. But, I really loved that. I like that better than most of the standalones. A lot of people were more into military fantasy, tend to lean really heavy on heroes and just love that story. But I was more Best Served Cold was definitely the series, the standalone that I liked the most.
Yeah, no, it's good. I enjoy it. It's just I felt like the first trilogy was cleaner. I guess if that makes sense. It felt cohesive.
Yeah,
it felt it felt like it was tighter, I guess, even though they're all similar length. So
I can see that for sure.
I like how Abercrombie can get into the headspace of his characters, and
their inner dialogue is just I think he just does it the best that I have ever experienced. an inner dialogue for Glotka, for every character. He just really provides you with their outlook on life, their morals, and their reasoning. And I just love getting into the heads of anybody Abercrombie creates, and I really hope you get into Age of Madness, because it just gets better from here.
Oh, I mean, I definitely will. I'm just, just taking a break right now.
Oh, and it's good to do that. And, like I said earlier, I'm going to take a break from trilogies. I am going to finish up trilogy. I'm not going to finish up Malazan, because that's just impossible.
Yeah,
I
no,
think by September, I'm going to do a lot of standalones. I think I'll jump into sci-fi, because they tend to have very shorter books, and some fiction, some historical fiction type stuff, some McCarthy things that are going to be completed, so I can feel that sense of accomplishment, because I read such big series. You don't really
yeah,
after you read
I
a
bet
book,
that probably
you
burns
get
you
that.
out after a while.
Oh, yeah.
On my channel,
Yeah,
I like to cover like a lot of stuff, because if I just covered one genre, personally for me, I would go crazy. I mean, I love fantasy. I do enjoy covering it on my channel, but if I just did that, I would go, I would just...
Yeah, so everything on my shelves is all series. I rarely have
God.
a standalone here. There, I have another shelf in there that's just dedicated to Abercrombie. I have A Song of Ice and Fire. I have the Five Warrior Angels, and I just need to read one more book in that, and I'm done. That series, I need to read. I finished R. Scott Baker, Mistborn. I DNF'd Oathbringer, so I think I should probably finish that up.
Oh, Oathbringer?
Yeah, and I just
I don't recognize that. Is that the one? Is that the one from Brandon Sanderson?
Yeah,
Oh.
that is the last book in the Stormlight Archive.
Sorry, continue what you're saying. Oh, I said continue what you're
DNF
saying.
that a while ago. Yeah, I put it down for a later time, I would say, just because I felt that it was just being, packing words into areas that didn't need to be explored. It was getting very clustered, and I just really wasn't feeling Oathbringer. But I would say Words of Radiance, that second book, was one of my favorite books of all time. I would probably put that in one of my top 10 books that I've read. But yeah, Sanderson was just get it. I was burnt out on Sanderson, and I put it down, and I haven't picked it back up yet.
Yeah, I've been hesitant to try Sanderson for a long time because, well, for one, I don't love his approach to fantasy. Like, I don't love how he over explains his magic. Because when it comes to magic, for me, I tend to like it to not be it doesn't have to be overly explained. No, I mean
it can be soft.
I mean, if there's stuff like Harry Potter, I'm fine with. That's fine. I don't mind that. But I guess that's
I would
not
say
really
Harry
a hard...
Potter was a soft magic system. When we talk hard magic systems, we're talking about Rothfuss and Sanderson for the most part. Brent Weeks, which I have not read Brent Weeks. But a lot of people, a lot of these more popular series tend to be harder magic systems rather than softer. People like that explanation.
There's people who like that, and that's fine. I just personally don't. I just personally don't.
I can take it or leave it. I enjoyed The Name of the Wind and A Wise Man's Fear and the diving into the intricacies of the magic. I enjoyed Mistborn. I still believe Mistborn is one of the best magic systems I've ever encountered.
Yeah, that's one I do want to try, Mistborn, because I like the idea. Oh, what if the Dark Lord won? I'm like, oh, that... Okay. I'll give that a. I would feel like a bad fantasy fan if I didn't read Sanderson at all. So I would like to try him, but I just I don't. It's like I said,
tomes, man.
I
Excuse
don't
me.
love his approach.
They're big books, man.
I mean, I don't love his
Clear
approach to
your
fantasy,
schedule.
So, yeah, he's got some chunkers. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm more of like, I mean, the one in Beyond Redemption sounds really interesting. The way that some people have told me. I don't know if that would be considered hard or soft. I don't know, but
I would say it's definitely a soft magic system because you don't really get into much. But yeah, it was just so cool there, and the themes that you found in there with mental illness. Beyond Redemption was an excellent book. I can't wait to read the second one in that series, and then see how he's going to end it in September.
Yeah, no, I mean the only criticism I've heard that's consistent is all the characters are fucking assholes.
Yeah, but that's where you get your redemption.
Which I don't mind asshole characters. That's fine. Give them if you give me something to latch onto, I can handle it. But
we're following mercenaries, who get paid to either rob people or kill people. So
friendly.
You're not gonna find the nicest of crew in there. You know what I mean? It's
like saying of a Joe Abercrombie, all the characters are mean. I'm like, it's not a nice world they're living in.
Yeah, that's very true.
The whole point of Best Served Cold is this world is so bad and it makes you worse over time.
The whole point of Beyond Redemption is the gods have fled the world. Because humanity was lost and is they were just done with what they saw in humanity. So
gods
that
just
was
went
definitely
peace, there's
they were just like, hey, we created you guys, we're out, man. We can't control you no more. You guys are a bunch of savages. We're gonna go try our hand at another universe. You
guys are a bunch of bitches.
Huh?
We're gone. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely going to try Beyond Redemption because I like the idea of it. But the only criticism I've heard is all the characters are assholes, and that's about it. And I'm like, I can get that.
I'm totally good. You know what? I'm an asshole. I'm totally for some assholes. Like I said, I can relate.
I mean, if I don't mind assholes. It's just yeah. I mean, it's. I've wouldn't say I like assholes in the real world, but I don't mind asshole characters if they're sympathetic. Okay, if they're completely.
I mean, I would say my friends. I grew up in Jersey. We're assholes to each other. That's how. That's how we express our love for each other. We call each other motherfuckers and things like that.
How'd you end up in Philly then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, how did you end up in Philly?
So, I ended up in Philly due to leaving Atlantic City, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. That's a casino, urban beach town. And that's where I became, addicted to drugs and alcohol and ended up homeless and things like that. And I finally was able to obtain a free, I didn't have health insurance, and I obtained a program that would give me free a rehab for free. And they sent me away from Atlantic City, and they really kind of push you through this. I was a person who abused pretty hard drugs for 25 years of my life. Jeez. And they really only wanted to give me 15 days in a rehab when I needed 6 months, to get my brain right and things like that. And I was homeless, so I had nowhere else to go. As when I got out of that rehab, I had 2 bags of clothes. That was it. and there was another program that came by when I was in rehab that was called recovery houses, and you go to these places, and then they push you into NA or AA, and you have to, go 30 days, 30 meetings in 30 days. So I went out there, and the whole program was actually in a spot outside Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So I just moved there with my 2 bags of clothes, started from nothing, and worked my way up, and ended up getting better, finding a job, starting a family, and just found a house for rent outside Philadelphia, and the rest is history.
Oh, so so are you like a Eagles fan recently, or is this like?
No, so you live in South Jersey. So I was actually born in Wilmington, Delaware.
Oh,
So Wilmington,
so you've been
Delaware is
around.
the Stones. What's that?
You've been around.
Yeah, so I was born in Wilmington, Delaware, and that's actually a stone's throw from Philadelphia. So that's North Delaware is Wilmington. So all your sports are Philadelphia sports within the Tri-City, within the Tri-State. So South Jersey is all Philadelphia fans. Then you got Philadelphia, and then you got like North Delaware. All of Delaware are all Philadelphia fans
Oh
because
wow.
those, you get to see the home games in that area. But my bubby, my great grandmother, she was a Flyers fan, a Phillies fan. My mom, my dad, my aunt, and I was just kind of born into it. My parents actually, they only raised me till about the time I was 10. Then I moved from Delaware to Atlantic City because my folks, they had drug problems, and I wasn't raised by my folks, and I went and I lived in right outside of Atlantic City with my grandparents who were Flyers, Philadelphia, all Philly fans, and I was just kind of born into it.
Okay. That was like you said you were from New Jersey. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, so
Should you be like
South
a Giants
Jersey
fan or
is
something?
all
Or a
Yeah,
Jets
South
fan?
Jersey is all filled. There's really like a cutoff. So once you get like above, I would say Trenton in New Jersey, that's when you start seeing the Mets fans and the Jets, the football Jets and Giants and Yankee
The poor
fans,
Jets
things like
fans.
that.
Oh man. Yeah, a lot of football. Like I've noticed, like a lot of football teams are just like not great right now. Like Jets. Well, Jets are getting better. Uh, well, some of them are actually getting better. Like the Lions and the Jets are getting better.
Yeah, the ones that have been really shit for a long time, the Jets, the Lions, even Miami wasn't that great for a long time. For Mike's sake over there at Mike's reviews, hopefully Houston Texans will get better.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so some of these teams are starting to flip over and get a little better that have been really stinkers for
I
the
mean, I
past
love
decades.
competitive football, so I get frustrated when I see a lot of like games where they're just smoking them. I'm like, dude.
I like me a good game. I'll because I'm into fantasy football. I watch every football game I can. But in this house, when the Eagles are on, nobody watches anything else but the Eagles. My
Yeah.
wife is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so
Mm.
I try to figure out if the games are on at the same time. Like she has to watch, her Pittsburgh Steelers on her phone somehow. 'Cause I got the TV.
Yeah. No, it's Yeah, I know it's Well, I guess you got a lot of Philadelphia fans where you're at. 'Cause you said you're right outside Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, I would say I'm just about a mile outside of the city limits of
Oh
Philadelphia.
yeah. I mean, in Oklahoma, like it's like a splattering of like NFL. Like there's Cowboy fans, there's like my.
You got that college, man, and I'm sure everybody.
My neighbor, I'm a big college fan, so OU, hell yeah. But I got like my neighbor behind me's a Chiefs fan.
How does that happen? How are you a Chiefs fan in Oklahoma?
I think he was from Missouri, so I mean, it
okay,
makes sense.
that's all right. I'll give him that then.
Yeah, no, but it's a weird in terms of NFL anyway. It's like a weird splat. Like there's Cowboy fans. There's I think there's even Texan fans somewhere. I know Mike's a Texan fan. I'm just like, oh man, I'm sorry. Ugh. Oh man, it's big. Apparently it's gonna come back on next month. That is crazy. It just stopped yesterday. Like, what the hell happened?
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking for. I do a podcast for college sports with my dad. So our second season's gonna be in September. Should be fun.
Awesome.
It's for college sports though, not NFL. But we do talk about NFL sometimes. I need to get editing software. Before then, I need to get the editing software back. But yeah, no, I already asked you, right? Like, what other genres would you like to try at some point on your channel?
Yeah, so I'd like to try historical fiction. I'm also, I want to get into some history. I want to, now that I'm, I've read a lot of fantasy. I just want to dip my hand into anything good. It's like music, I love all different types of music from hip hop to country blues, and it's if they're good, they're good. It doesn't really matter what genre they are, and I really want to dip my toe. I'm gonna jump into Stephen King in October. So I'm going to try some horror there. I'm jumping into some Don Winslow, so that's more of mystery, fiction, drug cartels, things like that. And I'm just up for whatever, as long as it's good and it keeps my interest. So I can't, hell, sci-fi. I just started my journey into sci-fi. I did a little bit of Dune. Now I'm reading the Sun Eater series, which is which I just started.
I had a buddy.
I can't wait to move into that more.
I had a buddy who read Sun Eater. He read the first 2 books, and he's like, "Man, this book just sucks." I'm gonna read the second one though, and I'm like, "Why?" it's like oh. There's some people.
So Empire of Silence, that the first one is what I just finished. You cannot deny that the man's writing is exceptional, and just the way he played out scenes, and actually made me cry during a scene in Empire of Silence. But you're dealing with a lot of setup. He's really building the whole universe here from our protagonist's perspective, and we're setting up the political makeup of humans now, and we're setting up the religious makeup of humans. And not a lot happened in that first book, but I was definitely interested the entire time.
Well, yeah, that's one I might try in the future, but I'm not in any hurry to at the moment. I'll say this: if you're interested in trying crime fiction at some point, because I know you said mysteries, and I kind of lumped them together, I would definitely recommend Dennis Lehane's stuff. Or
Drink Before the War, is that what it was?
Or yeah, that's what it says. A Drink Before the War. That was just the first one I pulled out, it's about very good. It's part of a series of books, but he's very good. Joe Lansdale's very good. If you like,
I want some serial killer type, some fictional serial killer type things.
Oh, yeah.
I know everybody says like Hannibal and Red Dragon. I want to try to find something else like that.
There was one book I read last year during summertime, though I probably should have read it during October. It's called Gone to See the Riverman. That book was so messed up. But
that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you like serial killers. That one's Yeah, that one's where you're at, you know.
That sounds pretty badass. Going to see the Riverman, huh?
Yeah, it's a horror book, and it's like, oh my gosh, it goes into some really. I actually friended the author on Facebook. I'm like, dude, that was fucked, and he's like, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he wanted to hear. You know,
a compliment. I'm like,
sure that's the
I'm like, hey man,
reaction
really enjoyed
he was
the book.
going for.
Really enjoyed the book though, and he's like, thank you.
Christopher Triana.
Yeah, no, it's very short. It's like 160 something pages. Which, oh my god,
To see the Riverman. It's only $3 on Kindle. You said it's short, huh?
Oh yeah, it's like me. I like to stretch them out. So like, but you could probably read it in a day if you really get sucked up into it. But
is it? It's just one. It's not a series, right?
No, it's one book, but I think he has a series. He has like splatter westerns he's doing right now. I don't know. He's put out a bunch of stuff because I'm on Goodreads and he has like a bunch of books. I'm like, oh my god, dude. Oh man, I can't catch up.
It's rocking 4 stars on Amazon right here. I might have to check that out.
Oh no, I thought it was one of my favorite reads last year. Even though I'm like, this is so fucked. It was like, oh, like at first you're like, oh okay, it's one of these books, and then like halfway it just twists right around. So yeah, but yeah, you like serial killer stuff. I'm sure you'll like that quite a bit.
All right, I check that out.
Well, it's about people who like fan over serial killers and that kind of like twisted, you know. But yeah, there's serial killer stuff in it, so yeah, fun stuff. Great for the family.
Yeah.
Some other serial killer stuff. I did just recently read The Killer Inside Me, which is about a deputy sheriff who's secretly a maniac. So might like that.
Has some Dexter type vibes to it, huh?
Oh yeah, it's pretty much Dexter before Dexter was a thing, you know.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, or that's what people. I've heard some people say it like that, and I would agree. Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting read, but it's stuck in my mind ever since I've stopped reading it. What's another like serial killer book? Well, American Psycho. I don't know if you've read that already.
Yeah, I've gotten that suggestion quite often, and I've seen the movie, of course.
Oh yeah, what'd you think of that?
I loved it.
Oh,
The movie was excellent.
Christian
Bale. Christian Bale killed that the whole movie.
Yeah, apparently he was so good. Like even the author, when he saw him, he's like, "What the fuck, dude?" He's creeped out by him. Oh my god, right? Great.
He did an excellent job in that movie, and I really wanted to check that out.
What are some other serial killer stuff I've read? Well, I mean, there's Mr. Mercedes, but I haven't read that yet from Stephen King.
Yeah, that was going to be on my October read, but I told Baron from Brain on Books that I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna do Salem's Lot for.
Good luck with it. I mean, it's a great book, but it's very long, and you could tell that Stephen King was kind of hitting drugs a bit in some parts.
I'm cool with that. You know, I love that. So I probably was doing the same thing he was doing. You know. Quite a while ago.
Like, there's some of the stuff where you're like, this is really fucking weird. But
yeah,
I mean, I like weird stuff, but there's some stuff in there I'm like, what the fuck, man? But yeah,
you know, give me some freaking acid tripping scenes. I'm good with that. You know, I'm all for it. And I'm gonna try Scanner Darkly. I hear that's a drug-filled book. You know, I'd like to get into some of these.
That's a peak drug-filled book.
Have you read it?
Oh yeah. A few years ago. I want to read it again at some point, but yeah, it's a great book.
What'd you think of it? Because I already have it downloaded in my Kindle.
I really enjoy it. I think it's probably my favorite book from that author. I think it's not a conventional book. It can be a little rambly at times, but that's kind of given with Philip K. Dick's style. probably his most personal book, because a lot of it's kind of based on when he was just like hanging out at his house and, you know, doing drugs, and people would come over and he did drugs with them, and it's good. Like it's really funny at some point.
I would say that
movie's weird too.
Now just talking
really
to you, I'm starting to realize what I like. Actually, just in this conversation, like, yeah, if it's something that I haven't seen before, I'm gonna love it. You know, it's like,
dude, in it, like they they use peyote and they start talking to a gigantic turtle. Like, I think you'll like it if you like that.
Do peyote in a scary scene has to be just bonkers. I'm starting to realize, like, I like something different. You know, like the movie Memento. That was really different. You know, and if you do, and if you know, Tarantino, his dialogue and how he shoots the movie, he just does something different every time, and I believe that's just what I like. It doesn't have to, if it's weird, if it's off the wall, like, I think I'm going to enjoy it because it's something that
like a Scanner
I haven't
Darkly,
experienced before.
Well, I mean, I know I mentioned Mieville earlier, but I think you would like his stuff too, because that's just off the walls.
I've heard, you know, Jimmy Nuts review that, and I'm just like, I've heard Vita Nostra is very off the wall. I want to give that a go.
Vita Nostra? I don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, I forget who it's by, and I was sent A Spear That Cuts Through Water by She Was Only Evie, and I hear that that's just something new, you know, something fresh, unique. That's a weird scene that you have to kind of get your bearings while you're going through it, and I really believe that is something that I like. It's something that I haven't
you like drug-fueled craziness. I mean, Stephen King's drug abuse.
To a manga series.
There's old stories like his drug use was so bad, like he can't even remember writing Cujo, which is the dog one.
From what I hear, that there was one book that was just so horrible because of his drug use was so bad. I forget what Baron was saying, but I also just heard.
Jeez.
Yeah. Also, I just heard that A Song of the Void or something has a lot of drug use in it, and I'd love to get into that. That's actually free on Kindle Unlimited. I believe Taylor from Made Between the Pages just read it and said it was fantastic.
I don't know if you've ever seen or read Trainspotting. Trainspotting is one of my favorites.
I've seen all those movies. Trainspotting, Basketball Diaries. What's that other crazy one? I love the title of it. Man, he lost his arm. Jared Leto was in it.
Oh, Requiem for a Dream. Yeah.
Requiem for a Dream. Yes, I saw that. I should probably watch it.
Off when I know you said you would.
Yeah, because I've seen guys with that. You know, they get abscesses that they don't take care of. You know, they lose fingers, arms, things like that. Man, it's bad.
Oh man, no, but yeah, no, I mean, Trainspotting's a good book, but it's one of those, like, it's very heavy in dialect, so, you know, just be careful if you ever read that, and you're probably gonna be like, what the fuck? So, yeah. It's kind of one of those, like, watch the movie first to get an idea on how they talk, and then you read the book, and you're like, oh, okay, this makes more sense. I also have a weird, like, thing about, like, I like stuff about drug addicts for some reason.
Interesting shit, man.
And, like, I've read, like, real stories from people who've used drugs, and, like, they get into some wacky adventures. Now, I'm not planning on, like, doing drugs or anything like that, but, like, I've heard they get into some wacky stuff. I'm not saying get into drugs. I'm not, like, trying to say, like, I want to get into drugs. I don't, but, you know, I like reading about them. For whatever weird reason.
Yes, I think that's a good way to just, you know, get into it just from the outside, reading about it.
Yeah.
It's definitely, you know, don't go out there and try to do anything, you know?
No, man, no. I have an aunt who's struggles with that, and yeah, it's not fun.
Everybody, I believe that everybody's affected by it. That's why I tend to be so open about it. Because, if somebody sees one of my videos and is like, "Hey, check this guy out. He's doing his thing." Even if one person is like, calls the number at the end of my videos, that'll be worth it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I saw you have 6 years, and like I said yesterday, congratulations on that.
Coming up on 7 in September.
Oh yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you.
So yeah, you found reading as another thing to do to pass the time.
Yeah, definitely find a healthier way to escape. You know what I mean? Because I've said before, I escaped for 25 years, man, just to get out of myself, not have to think about things in life, and reading has definitely filled that void that has been left since I quit using drugs.
Excuse me for a sec.
Yeah, man, take your time.
What's up? I'm starting to get hungry, so I'll tell you when I'm done. Sorry, I was talking to my mom. That's I'm a 22-year-old man, but I still live with my parents because college.
Listen, buddy, it's getting worse. The average of people to leave their home these days is 28 and 29. So, start building your credit. Find something you like to do. Buy a car. That paid off. It's living in today's society is not easy.
Oh no,
and it's
inflation's really bad right now. So I mean, it's
if you want to buy a house, you need to get your credit right. There's no the average that people live at home is up until their 30s, really.
Well, let's see. I also watched your one about Lapvona, which is what's a book I wanted to read. I've heard that's really good.
Off the wall.
I like how you just went like, this book's fucking disgusting. I just want everyone to know that because I'm like,
had to read it. Yep.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yo, this dude's like speaking my language. I love this man. It made me excited for this conversation.
Right.
Your teeth are very white though. That's very.
Yeah, they're not mine. You want them?
Oh God. No, I think I'll be okay.
It's one of those what you get from doing what I did for 25 years. They're not my teeth.
Oh.
Dentist did a really good job. I'm almost done with them. But they're very expensive.
Well, I know you also read manga a little bit as well. Is there's like some you've read? I know it's kind of like a thing now. Like I've even read some manga. I read Monster last year, which I think that
I've
serial
heard so many good things about Monster.
If you like serial killers, Monster, you will love that one.
Yeah. So I did some research.
Oh, you did.
And
did you look up serial killer stuff on the internet, like serial killer novels whatever?
I try to watch all serial killer documentaries and things like that. It's just what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And so when I went out and looked for manga, everybody said Monster was really good. But everybody's doing that in our circle. Everybody's doing Berserk, Monster, Vinland Saga. I wanted to find something different that maybe I could bring to people. And when I looked out there, I don't want to
be a part of the crowd either. Dang it! But hey, Monster is really good though. I like Pluto.
I found this guy right here, Doro Hidoro.
Oh. Yeah.
And I've only gotten the first 2.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
They are amazing. It's a very dystopian world with sorcerers and dark magic, and it's funny. It's brutal. It's graphic, and I really loved it. And actually, Mark from Slowly Read is the one who recommended this. And it was a few months because I was like, maybe he'll come back, and if he does a review on it, I don't want to be that dude that kind of took it from him. He hadn't done a review on it. I was just like, I'm dying to know what he said it was an amazing ride. It's awesome. Go check it out. So I finally bought the first two, and I really want to buy the rest of them. I don't have the money right now though. This stuff is not. This manga shit ain't cheap, man.
I'll put it. I mean, if you're trying to get more into sci-fi, I mean, there's also Pluto, which is by the same guy who did Monster. I just read that this year. That was very good as well. So, might like that.
Yeah, so I got an app on my phone. What's it called? Pluto.
Pluto. Yeah.
I'm trying to.
It's only like 8 volumes long. Like it's not long at all. Like it's very.
I'm trying to find an app that has this stuff. I found this one, Comics Plus. And I believe it has all the Berserk on here, which is awesome. It might be free.
I was about to say, if you like fucked up stuff, you might like Berserk. I mean, yeah.
So
but everyone talks about that, so.
I'll tell you a story. I bought the first volume of Berserk for my kid, and then I read it and I found out I was a horrible parent.
I thought it was funny because I first discovered you from Epic Tales and you and Alex talking about Blood Meridian, and I just liked how you asked Alex, who the fuck let you read Blood Meridian at like 9?
Yeah. That guy is so intelligent. It makes me feel like an idiot, an intellectual vagabond talking to AJP.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
great.
I fancy myself a pretty smart guy, but I talked to him the other day on this exact show, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
he's on another level, and I totally respect the man for it.
Yeah, no, he's a great dude.
I really love that he's that intelligent and just speaks so well about it. He's kind of like me that can go off on tangents, but he knows what he's speaking about, and I just wish I could do that, the way he does. But he's been into reading for a long time, and I just love the way he speaks, and I learn from a guy like that. I learned to jump into different things, to jump into different philosophical works. I'm at home all day on YouTube. I tend to look up like Nietzsche philosophy and other guys.
Ask, like, what do you like? You said like your channel is called Black and Blue Collar, and I'm like, so what do you do? So are you like a stay-at-home kind of dude?
So I used to go to work, until the pandemic, and now I work from home.
Oh, okay.
I made it the Black and Blue. So Black and Blue being, like a punch in the eye, your black and blue eye. So, I like the action of these series. I like the blood, the guts, the bruises, and things. So Black and Blue, it was just it's kind of a play on words, I would say. But and I'm a blue collar guy. You listen to how I speak.
That's why I'm like, so you do I don't know. Here's how ignorant I am about how blue collar works, but I'm like, I think of Peter Griffin.
Blue collar. So I made that name because listen, when you go out there and you watch somebody's channel like Alex from Tall Guy Reads, he just speaks so well about all this stuff, and a lot of the channels we get into are very, they're very educated people. They speak so well, and when I got out there, I'm just like, that's not how I'm gonna.
That's what I like. I'm like, this guy's just
articulate
he's just,
like that,
he's just speaking
and
his mind. I like that.
I want to articulate like that, and I want people to know that a reading doesn't come with a bad stigma. When you see people reading, you're like, oh, they're a smart person, right? And I am a guy that has only a BA in sociology. I didn't advance my learning, and a lot of the booktubers out there just speak so well. They use their words correctly, and I don't do that, and I want to. Don't get me wrong, I want to. But I'm just kind of a blue collar guy who's picked up reading in his 40s again. So that was just my channel name is kind of just a play on words there. Black and Blue being, the action type, the blood and guts type stuff that I like, and blue collar, being the type of guy I am. And what you can expect from my channel when you watch me, and it's a little bit putting me down, but it's all good. But I really look up to those tubers. Where I'm getting into the game with professors of English. Philip Chase, AP Canavan, people that are that have are learned, and it was kind of just giving you the flavor of what you would find with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw one you did over pets, or it was like a collab video.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, I got one, and he's a yapper. And he probably has to go out soon. So I'm probably gonna have to take him out soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, my pug, I think, was always been the biggest hit. Everybody, when I put out videos, and my pug Iggy Smalls is his name, and when he gets into the video, he steals the show, man. He's a limelight whore.
Yeah,
he loves it every time I put on the video.
Like on your Blood Meridian, his ass just comes like on the camera. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He just knows when I'm filming, and he'll jump on the table and just come in. And he's in a lot of my videos. People love seeing him.
Oh man, yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I always wanted a pug for maybe someday, or a bulldog. I like those. I like that breed.
Yeah, maybe I like those guys.
Maybe someday, but it's like, because my neighbor has some pugs, so I'm like, oh man, dang. Anyway, yeah, no, I think that's Well, I'll ask you this before we wrap up, if that's okay, if I can hold on to you just
no problem.
A bit longer. Are there anything in the future that you're planning on covering, like reviews and whatnot?
What?
Is there books or stuff that you're planning on reviewing in the near future you would want people to know about?
Yeah, I'm going to be continuing on with Malazan. I would love for to have people send me. I'm going to try Gwyn, John Gwyn. I'm going to give Malice a go. I want to give P.L. Stewart. There's so much on my TBR, like we were talking about China Mieville. I really want to jump into him.
Yeah, I know TBRs just get bigger and bigger as the years go
by. I just want to read everything. I really don't have a line. I mean, other than YA, like I don't think I'm going to go into YA fantasy or anything like that. I might try to do collab with somebody who loves YA and suggest me a YA thing, and I'll suggest them some dark ass book that they'll probably hate me for.
Some dark drug filled book that you found.
Yeah.
I will look forward to that.
I would say I'm very open, man. It's sky's the limit right now for me. I feel like I'm behind because I picked up reading late in life, and I just want to consume anything and everything, and I can't wait to do it.
All right, yeah, that sounds like a plan. I will definitely be continuing watching your channel because
thank you.
I've enjoyed watching it from last couple days of because I like to do what's called I guess it's kind of like homework, I guess.
That's the way a reviewer should be, or an interviewer should be. You're doing a good job, brother.
Or I'll watch videos, and I enjoyed them. Yeah, I thought I'm like, oh, this guy's good. I enjoy his style.
Yeah, I'm an acquired taste, my man. You know what I mean? Whereas
you're very true to
Chase
yourself,
would be a nice cognac. That. I'm like a 40 OE over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're true to yourself, and I respect that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is all we have for today. Is there anything you would like to share before we get going?
Yeah, just if you guys out there watching this, come down, visit my channel, hit me up, tell me I'm doing a horrible job, or tell me you like my views. I don't care, man. I'm waiting for my first negative comment. I've been preparing for it since I got onto the Twitter sphere, And hit me up at Black and Blue Collar Reader, and let's get some dialogue and let's chop it up about some books.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, do you have like a Twitter or anything, or are you just on YouTube
I
right now?
do have a Twitter. Yeah, I'm at Dan L's. It would be at DANLLZ, I believe. But it does come up the Black and Blue. I am the Black and Blue Collar Reader on there. I believe if you hit the at button, it's at DANELLZ.
Oh, okay. All
Yep,
right,
and
so that's all you got for right now?
yeah, I got a Discord too. I do have a Discord. We just started a Discord. Britton was our first member. He showed up. We were all like, "Yeah, I guess we're live." And Britton was our first member. I thought that was really cool.
I felt so awkward because Carlos gave me the link. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll join this. And then you're like, oh, you're our first member. And I was like,
yeah,
shit.
I think we were a little shocked. We didn't know we were getting somebody that day, but I'm glad it was you. I would have been better if you weren't a Cowboys fan.
Always.
I'm glad you showed up and hit us up at the Discord. We got a bunch of booktubers in there from the class of 2023, and I'd love to hear from you guys. Stop on by.
Yeah, this was fun. We should do this again sometime.
Yeah, man, Britton, hit me up anytime. I love chopping it up with whoever, man.
All right.
I would love to do this again for sure.
All right. Well, you can check me out on Twitter, and Goodreads, and Letterboxd, where I do reviews on there, which are probably more coherent than the reviews I do on YouTube. But that's beyond the point. Discord, you can come find me. I'm on groups like Unexpected. I do have a channel. I just need to figure out how to make the link work, and that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I definitely enjoyed this conversation. So take care, everyone. Bye bye now. Till next time.